好的，各位欢迎回来，这里是女。
Welcome back already. It's time for game number 2 of our next first game. It's HGT Hyperglory team up against Vici Gaming. I'm Gods, joining me as Basekip. We've got ourselves a pretty decisive game 1 victory for Vici Gaming. I'm mixing up my words all day long. How are you doing, Basekip?
I'm doing pretty well. I have a plan now, kind of, if we have server problems again. So hopefully we'll be able to get that sorted out.
That's good. Yeah,
good to be back. Looking forward to watching Vici Gaming in action. It feels weird because the Chinese scene at the moment doesn't really seem all that active if you compare it to when we were just getting back from the break or right before we headed into the break. And it feels like at the moment I can choose any Western team and I'm like, oh, I'd like to watch, say, EG versus whoever. And you can look back over the past week and there's at least, 5 or 10 games to watch. But if you look at teams like Vici or LGD, things like that, I think if you look at LGD's competitive match history, they're scheduled to play one game today, and then they also played a month ago, and then the last competitive game before that was 2 months prior.
Oh, wow.
So some of these teams haven't really had that many competitive games going on.
Yeah. It feels like WPC is both a really good thing for the scene, but at the same time it does limit their schedule because there's never any other tournaments overlapping with it. You look at the Western scene, any given night you've got D2L, you've got Star Ladder, you've got whatever other Dream League being another big one, now Fragbite. There's always honestly minimum 3 events any given night, and generally even 4 to 5 tournaments going on any night of the week. But for the Chinese scene, there's never any overlap. It's only just the one. So you've got WPC 3 to 4 days a week, and then the ECL is also going a couple days a week. But that's only one best of 1 a day. So that's a really light schedule as well.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing is, of course, is that WPC is a LAN event. So I guess the teams are all kind of, there's probably the opportunity to practice and play, but I also, like you said, tournament organizers don't want to be running stuff at the same time as WPC, and because obviously everything is kind of almost organized centrally in China, right? Most of the big teams have contracts with Ace, and
everything goes.
They do all the organization. Yeah,
Ace or Perfect World or whatever it may be.
Yeah, whatever the case may be.
Well, let's get ourselves into this game 2 draft. We've got Vici Gaming up against Hyperglory team. I'm still not getting used to this Hyperglory team nonsense, but
yeah, it's strange. Which name do you like more, Hearts Get Together or Hyperglory team?
Hearts Get Together for sure. That was a cool name. I liked it. There was so many good spin-offs and puns you could do with that. Hyperglory team is just douchey.
It's just a bunch of random words kind of tossed together. Hyperglory, but oh well. It's just a team name. We can't think into it too much. And Vici Gaming with this first pick, Batrider.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, this is ROTK's hero. This is what he's famous for, going back to the Dota 1 days, and obviously doing it really well in Dota 2. There's been a few instances, obviously known for lassoing a creep in one competitive game, but I mean, you play enough Batrider, that's bound to happen once or twice. So can't really blame him for that.
Yeah, there's always going to be misclicks, little mistakes made. It definitely happens. And, well, HGT with none too surprising in opening. They just go for Centaur plus Invokers. So I think kind of fixing their lanes right from the word go. If they spot an opportunity to go for an aggressive tri-lane and Vici Gaming for some reason end up with a 1v1 matchup that's not too great against the Centaur, maybe HGT could go aggressive. But the other thing is as well, they went for that aggro tri-lane in the previous game, and it just didn't work. Vici Gaming already had a plan in mind to dodge the tri-lane, leave the Weaver, and actually ride out the early game 100% fine. So probably not going to be seeing an aggro try from HGT here. Just going to see if they can stay on an even footing coming out of the laning stage, and then we'll see if they can fight Vici Gaming in the mid game with that slightly more even footing instead of being behind from the word go.
We get ourselves a cool, interesting draft, and most of it coming from the Vici Gaming bans, like banning out Shadow Shaman as well as even Ruby. Actually, no, sorry, the AA Venomance. I'm looking at this upside down. The AA Venom were the first two bans. Yeah, AA Venom were the first two bans, but they banning out exclusively supports. They didn't take the Invoker first, which is, I guess, like Invoker versus Batrider kind of depends on the team. Most teams, I'd say, prefer the Invoker, but you look at some teams, like I know Cloud9 love the Batrider. Vici Gaming, obviously, of ROTK, so that's where the Invoker gets given away. But then they ban out even more supports, and HGT have got themselves pretty much all three of their core heroes right off the bat. Not something you see all too often.
Yeah, and nothing but support bans, pretty much, from Vici. So Hearts Get Together are going to have to get a little bit creative with their supports. But the thing is, with 6.80, so many supports are viable. I think we could potentially see, say, a VS or a Disruptor. To deal with the Batrider. And yeah, just good overall. Good against the Sand King as well. You see the Epicenter coming in. You can either glimpse him to cancel it if you've got vision. He jumps in and only gets one pulse off and you immediately glimpse him. That's fine as well. So I would like to see some Disruptor. I think I agree with you there.
And we don't see much CM anymore. I think CM's still a very powerful support in the early game. And Crystal Nova, one of those really great AoE nukes as well. So... I think I agree with you. I think the supports in 6.8, there's so many good ones. At the same time, I like the metagame where you're first picking your supports just because it doesn't reveal too much about your draft. And supports like Shadow Shaman AA just are that little bit better than a lot of other supports. The other hero is the Dazzle. We haven't got to see much Dazzle on the Chinese team, whereas we see this hero all the time picked up by Empire, VP. I mean, any Western team loves their Dazzle.
Yeah, I've seen teams like, I think C9 and EG have both been first picking Dazzle in some situations. Okay. So he's definitely been creeping up there as well for some teams. And I think we were talking about this when we were casting some Western games, how the Shadow Shaman isn't really a pick over there at all. And it's huge in the Chinese scene. And I think just recently Empire have started bringing the Rasta into some of their games a little bit. So I think that's something to keep an eye on to see if the two scenes are, well, even more than two scenes, but if the scenes are going to start picking off little bits and pieces here and there from one another. Because, from talking to pro players, they do definitely watch the games from the other scenes and are trying to get a handle on what's going on.
Well, that was where the Centaur pick started. Teams like Vici Gaming were doing Centaur picks way back in Signer Cup before a single Western team was playing the hero. And then it was like, well, I mean, like someone like Bulba started playing Centaur a lot because he watches a lot of the Chinese Dota games. You got teams like Alliance, who you often see Bulldog in the chat watching these games. So the Western teams pick up on that, and similarly, it goes both ways. The Chinese teams have been picking up on a lot of these Western picks as well. Heroes like the Dazzle. So maybe we get to see a Dazzle in this game, and there we go. HGT grabbed themselves a Dazzle. It's going to be a 5th pick Dazzle for HGT.
Spoilers, Guts. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. I as soon as I said that, I'm like, wait, I'm not meant to be spoiling. Let's put up my blank MS Paint document again, and I'm no longer watching. But this is something that Vici Gaming do. Newbie did the other day. I'm not a big fan of it. It's the Sand King Leshrac support duo. Every now and then they go for a Rubik Leshrac. Every time I see this Leshrac support with a Sand King, it's always very underwhelming.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it can be a very strong pairing if they get the levels and just the sheer burst damage against a hero like Visage, who's actually quite squishy. Can be fantastic. Also, a lot of teams have become really, really used to being able to get the Rasta in some situations. He's not really first ban. And Rasta as a hero means we have Rasta, we don't need to pick any other pushing heroes because Serpent Wards are just fine for pushing down towers. So the Leshrac kind of brings a little bit of that in as well. If they want to 5-man and push and pick up a mech on the Alchemist and be active and aggressive early with that timing, the Edict can help make up a little bit for the fact that they don't have so much push. So I don't mind it too much here, honestly.
All right, well, we'll introduce our two teams in game number 2. On the Radiant side, it's going to be Vici Gaming with FY playing a support Sand King. Boots first on him. He switched heroes with Fenrir. Fenrir playing the Sand King in game 1. This time around, it'll be Fenrir playing a support Leshrac. Yeah, there we go. Leshrac is heading near the top lane. For now, Silo going to be on the carry Gyrocopter. In the mid lane, going to be the Super Alchemist. I love watching this guy play Alchemist. He is, in my opinion, the best Alchemist at the moment. Then ROTK playing Batrider in the off lane.
Yeah, Super is just fantastic on, I would say, Alchemist, and he's recently been playing a little bit of Beastmaster as well. So
Okay.
your real mid-game, tempo control-y, can buy a mech, setting things up kind of mids.
Just
And
watching him
I'm
farm
really a big fan.
Ancient, like, he stacks the Ancient so well using the Acid, and he'll have like a 7-8 minute mech, and just, he'll get so filthy rich so fast. It's ridiculous to see.
Yeah, and it's very similar, I guess, in some ways to say something like almost a Mushi Batrider. It's not really so much about beating your opponent in lane, but just taking advantage of your hero to secure a ton of early farm, and then just leveraging that farm to go from there. Mushi never really dominates lane 1v1 as Bat. He always just goes, stacks the jungle, farms it up, gets his blink as fast as he can.
Well, we'll introduce our Dire team now. It is going to be Team Hyper Glory. We've got 1-2-1 playing the Solar Mid Invoker. We've got Center in the hands of Kaka. And the tri-lane possibly looking for a fast kill here. ROTK in some trouble. XTT leading the way. He's on the Slark, and he's going to get himself a first blood, it looks like. Actually, the support Dazzle gets it. ZSMJ with a good start here. He's playing your Dazzle, then finally it's pretty Ho on the Visage. And the tri-lane this time around, HGT actually getting kills with their tri-lane. That's how it's done.
Not enough respect from ROTK. Even picks up Sticky Napalm at level 1 instead of Firefly. That's interesting. Yeah.
Bulba was doing that the other day as well. I remember because I had Zairi here in the studio, and he's like, why does Bulba do this? And I'm just like, I don't know. I think Firefly is better in almost all situations. Unless it's a 1v1 matchup, then it's more debatable, but you're not getting a 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, it makes life more difficult for the farmer and the support to try and harass you, but I don't know if that's worth sacrificing a really reliable escape mechanism. Maybe the thought is against Slark. You know, if they get the lockdown, then he's probably dead regardless. But yeah, interesting choice from RTK. He does have level 2 now, so not the biggest deal.
Gonna come in here, just look to steal some of this experience here. Try almost get a last hit. I think he got that one. No, he didn't. He's got no last hit, so missed the last hit on the big dark troll. We have HGT and HGT, they're level 2.5 on both their supports here. So ROTK not going to have too much fun here. He's trading hits with ZSMJ. ZSMJ has a point in the grave now, deciding not to go for the poison touch early here. And, well, yeah, giving up the first blood already. Needs to be careful not to let too much more damage come from this top lane.
Yeah, this Alchemist mid is just, it's working out so well for Super. And just in general, the hero is very strong mid. You look at somebody like Invoker, who typically, he doesn't really lose lanes, and even this lane he's not going to lose, but all of your ranged mids, Puck, Invoker, they just can't stand anywhere near the acid spray, and it just secures a whole bunch of really easy farm for Super.
Yeah, I think Alchemist in the current meta is best played as a mid. Like, I've seen him every now and then pick played as a support, and I think the support Alchemist is very underwhelming since the stun nerf. But mid lane with acid, he's still fantastic. The acid has not been touched in the last patch, I believe.
I don't think so. No, I think it was just the concoction tweaks that would have been the only thing.
Well, for now, yeah, he's doing great in this mid lane. Hasn't started stacking Ancients. He's actually in some trouble here. He's going to start chilling a stun here. The Tornado going to go flying through as well. Got to get this one off. 1-2-1. Whew, that was close to a kill going the way of the Invoker. Super. I think cut that one a bit finer than he was expecting himself, because that almost was a killer.
Yeah, fortunate that he had that Invis rune. Honestly, and I guess good job as well not panicking and popping the invis right as he got cold snapped, because the tornado was ready to go. Yeah. And I believe that should dispel invis. It definitely dispels DD, it definitely dispels haste. I'm not 100% on invis though, but my best guess would be that it does as well.
Okay. Yeah, I actually never considered that one, but yeah, I think you'd be right there. So for now, Centaur, he's left this off lane. He's gone into the jungle for a bit, trying to just finish off his Tranquil boots, and going to just stack up one more camp probably before healing himself up. So he's done okay, getting level 2.5 here, and compared to the Batrider, ROTK level 3 already. Hasn't got any farm though, and this is where ROTK has not really done as well as he normally would in this offlane scenario. The lane ward, something which is fairly standard in past like safe lane tri lanes, but we don't actually see much lane wards coming out as much as we used to from teams when they go for these tri lanes.
Yeah, I think a little part of it is that HGT, they know that it's Sand King and Leshrac over on the opposite side, and there's a slim chance, but there is a chance that they could look for a TP up towards top lane, or try and find a kill here. So I think the ward helps out a little bit with that, and also just knowing when the Batrider has left to go to the jungle, you know that once that's happened, once he's ditched the lane, he's probably not going to be coming back for a little while, and that's when you have an opportunity to push a tower. But well, HGT come in, but RTK this time, he's just going to be coming back to top lane, and nice little bit of experience making its way in for him.
Yeah, with the big creep wave there, he decides he should go there. Pops the Firefly just to be safe.
Tornado mid, super stunned up, cold snaps, down he'll go. Nice rotation from the Centaur.
This is why I love the Centaur. He can actually gank and roam so well with no levels, no items, just because that level 1 stun is so good. Hoof Stomp, level 1, 2-second stun, fantastic follow-up for any kind of initiation. Even just level 1 double edge. Level 1 double edge is 175 damage. This hero's damage output at level 2, level 3 is insane.
Are fortified.
Yeah, and right now just throwing down some damage on the Sand King is actually just going to keep on wandering through. HGT bringing a bunch of heroes to bear to defend this bottom lane, and Vici Gaming not really in the best position here.
FY's in trouble. He's going to get burst down to start this fight here. The Invoker roaming in to help this one out here. And Fenrir now, he's on the run. The Trenkle boots from the Centaur give him a bit of a movement speed boost, but not going to be enough to catch up, especially with them disabled. So no follow-up kills here, but Centaur, he gets himself some more gold, gets himself some hard-earned experience as well at this bottom lane, and well, it's a good start for HGT in this game too. They're up 3 kills to nothing, unanswered.
Bit of an odd decision from XDT there. He went to TP in, but he TP'd in towards the tier 2, realized that he wasn't going to be able to catch anybody, and then just called it a day on haste on 1-2-1.
Oh, not gonna, he does
Bye-bye,
have to,
Fenrir.
He had to shoot his way through the trees here, but the double edger helped set this one up. The stun coming out from Lethrax, but Dazzle, ZSMJ gets himself his second kill of the game. So this manly Centaur play, I gotta say. He's doing some work here, and I like the Centaur with Dazzle. There's some good synergy there as well, just helping keep the Centaur alive when he goes in for those big plays. Meanwhile, top lane, it looks like a kill going the way of HGT. Again, RTK getting caught out. Slark helping kill him way off in the trees there.
That's just the 2 of them as well, so nicely done by HGT.
The XCT now, he's got his treads as well as a decent chunk of gold here, about to hit his level 7. Super going to start stacking Ancient, so I mean, I've seen him in the past. Normally he stacks these a lot earlier on. I guess he's been prioritizing just staying in the mid lane, trying to contest as much farm as possible from the Invoker, but he's now going to look to swing towards this mid lane, but he's spotted. This Observer Ward sees this rotation in, and he's going to just stun himself up here. The stun itself doesn't really matter that he stuns himself, but the big worry is just they're not finding any kills here.
Yeah, Vici Gaming not really getting that much done with the supports. They didn't even manage to get the tower bot. That actually got denied by
Dude, that was a
ZSMJ.
sick kill at top lane.
Yeah?
Oh my god, I'm watching on the Chinese stream now. That was insane. I can't believe they got that. The Observer, what helps out, it was like giving vision into the top lane, and it was he pounced to where that waterfall is. He pounced from the lane towards the waterfall and caught ROTK with the pounce.
Oh wow.
And then
really
the
nice.
Visage is like throwing nukes from afar, and then finally finishes him off with a Soul Assumption, like near his Tier 1 tower. That was sick.
And I'm gonna make sure I have the Chinese stream open.
Yeah.
Now, actually, yeah.
For all the stuff I miss.
Yeah. Well, I closed it before. I was like, the game's working normally, so I can just cast off the game instead of casting off the stream.
Chewing up all your bandwidth. It is.
Oh, I've got plenty of quota. It's fine.
Well, looks like Batrider gonna sees Pretty Hawk coming his way, but this Alchemist stun may be enough to get Batrider to catch up here. Pretty Hawk takes a lot of damage from it, but the follow-up just isn't really there, and it's going to be Alchemist in some trouble here. Luckily, he has an invis room, but it's the Batrider ROTK. Dies for the 3rd time this game. He is just being shut down.
Top tower is
BT
under
Gaming,
attack.
they're actually in some trouble here in game 2. They're
Dire's
down
middle
0-6.
tower is
Alchemist
under
can't
attack.
actually stack his Ancient. It's being blocked by a Sentry Ward. Smart play from HGT, and, well, times are not going so well for him right now.
Radiant's top tower is under
No, and I
attack.
think RTK, this definitely needs to be the point where he says, okay, screw it, I'm done with top lane, they can have my tier 1, they can have my tier 2, I'm done caring, I'm just gonna go jungle, I'm just gonna get my Blink Dagger, because I need to have an impact in this game. Vici Gaming's really big timing was probably gonna be Mech Alchemist, maybe BKB Gyro, and then Blink Dagger on the bat, but if any of those elements get slowed down substantially, then things are going to be looking pretty good for HGT. And the longer that Vici Gaming spend farming and not 5-manning, the more at risk they are of the Centaur pickoffs with the Blink Dagger,
Radiant's top
of the
tower
Slark
is under
pickoffs
attack.
as well.
As much as ROTK was kind of feeding at top lane, he actually had 1,200 gold, and now he gets himself up to 1,500 gold with this stack. So this is still going to be like a 12, 13-minute Blink Dagger, which for off-lane bat is still a
Not
reasonable
unreasonable.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the death, he's dying, but he's getting farm in the lane. That's where the big thing has come. He's contesting the lane as hard as possible,
FY.
getting himself out of
Bye-bye.
position. Yeah, bye in the mid lane is. The
Radiant's
Quasworks
middle
Invoker
tower
coming
is
into play. I know
under
you're a
attack.
big fan of the Quasworks Invoker.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very powerful and not nearly as level dependent, I think, as QE. I mean, 1-2-1 is just wandering the map, setting up kills, and so long as you don't die too much in the early to mid game, then your levels kind of just handle themselves with all of the pickoffs.
Well, we'll see Fenrir take over the mid lane for just a couple of seconds here. Try to get himself that. RTK, he's gone back top, and once again, he's kind of contesting the farm here, trying to steal these neutrals. He's used the Firefly, so he has to get out of here soon, because once his Firefly wears off, could be in some trouble. And it looks like ZSMJ not going to get this deal. So both those creeps going the way of the Bat Rider. So RTK now 1750, farming a lot better.
And this Centaur is messing with me. I looked at the bars at the top. I'm like, oh god, Centaur is at 10 HP. What have I missed? And he's jungling with double edge. I think he's gonna go for this. Yeah, there we go.
Didn't even need the stomp, I don't think. But play it safe, play it safe. He's going back to base anyway.
Yeah. So nice farm on the Centaur. 1800 gold. He's matching the pace of RTK on this stagger timing. But you have to remember RTK got slowed down. And actually looks like RTK, what's he up to? Was that... Okay, not his buckler recipe, I hope.
Oh,
I saw a buckler recipe in his inventory, yeah, and I was like, what? And no, it's, I guess, just for the alch.
Super takes a lot of
Radiant's
damage to
bottom
finish off the
tower
Yankee here,
is
but he
under
does manage to
attack.
do so. It looks like HGT going to
Radiant
group up towards the
structures
bottom
are
lane.
fortified.
They're going to bring ZSMJ with them. They've got Arcane Boots on the supports, and this is where all these kills they're getting is helping out these supports a lot. You look towards Vici with the Buckler, you've got Dazzle with Arcane Boots already. Meanwhile, Vici Gaming, their farm and levels on the supports are nowhere near as impressive.
Radiant's
Sanking
bottom
actually
tower
working
is
close
under
to a Blink
attack.
Dagger here, so actually his Blink timing may be the first to come, because FY has not really left this jungle too much.
Oh no, so I think... Oh, did he sell it? It looked like the Alchemist bought a... Yeah, no, he does have a second buckler recipe. So RTK put his buckler recipe on the ground, and he's bought another one, because the autocomplete has messed with him a little bit. So that's going to slow down the mech just slightly. And if Super dies
Radiant's
right on the
bottom
cusp
tower
of
is
finishing
under
mech, that's
attack.
the reason. And you've got RTK
Radiant's
and
bottom
poor
tower
communication
has
to blame.
fallen.
So, yeah, that's to say. So ROTK is to blame. That's
Basically.
the short form of this one.
Is that the summary of this game as well, up to this point?
Dire's middle tower
I mean,
is under attack.
applying... This is one of those things, like, so many games you'll see ROTK, like, dying in the offlane, but whenever he's doing so, he's applying a lot of pressure and actually getting good farm out of it. So, if you look towards this, he's got a...
Space created.
Yeah, it's space creation. I mean, space creation often just a euphemism for feeding, but I think ROTK manages to get the best out of it. We're going to see mid lane. Blink Sand King going to go in on 1-2-1 here. This is going to be a kill here. Perfect chain stun. That's the importance of the fast Blink Dagger on the FY Sand King there. They get the kill there with a nice chain stun.
Yeah. So Vici Gaming are now
Dire's
ramping
middle
into their
tower is
timing.
under attack.
RTK not even slowed down that too much on the Blink Dagger. He's coming in mid, ready to smoke up, ready to look
That
for
was-
pickoff. And
A weird smoke.
yeah, and HGT, how they take these fights are pretty much going to determine the game.
Oh, Centaur with a Blink Dagger. He gets a 2-hero stun here. Super has started channeling his unstable concoction. Now gets Poison Touch up. Needs to throw the stun. Will do so. Catches that XGT. Ton of burst damage going down. The Slark going to get blown up by a Gyrocopter cooldown. It's a 2-for-1 trade in the mid lane. The Invoker, well, already dead on the sidelines. And they really needed the Invoker there for that fight. They couldn't afford to fight without the Invoker.
I think that was really questionable. Jump in.
Radiant's top tower
Super
is
taking a
under
lot of
attack.
damage here. And with his EMP Tornado, that's going to be the death of the Alchemist. And FY in trouble as well. He's got no mana. Can still blink without mana. And looks like he'll just get his way out of there. So, still an okay trade. 2 for 2. I mean, I guess 2 for 3 if you count the Invoker dying at the start. But that was kind of an unrelated trade. So, not terrible for HGT.
No, but I do agree that taking the fight without the Invoker was a little bit strange. They've even got a glyph ready. So they could have just stalled behind the tower for a little bit, thrown some heals onto their own creep wave to keep it spammed out, and as soon as the Invoker was respawning, then Stampede, jump in, go for those stuns, look for the fight. But things still worked out okay, and again, if they can just make it through the next little bit and don't let Vici Gaming ramp up too much, then we've definitely still got a game on our hands. Because
They've got a
Vici Gaming...
Shadowblade.
Yeah.
XCT is huge on this slot.
Yeah, he's very farmed.
So, well, Shadowblade on Slack. 4 stuff complete on the Invoker as well, so I feel like their item pickups right now are actually pretty scary. The mech on the Vici is probably the one thing they're really waiting for before they can take team fights pretty much head on. There's so much AoE in Vici Gaming, they really need this mech. And it's like we're going to have a bit of an engagement here. Centaur Blink Stun only catches that ROTK, but if they can kill ROTK before he lasters, it's great. He gets no mana from the EMP. Soul Assumption finishes him off. Meanwhile, Kaka taking a bit of damage here. Doesn't have the Stampede anymore. He's getting chain stunned up. He'll be a casualty of war, perhaps. The Grave going to keep him alive a bit longer here. Forced after away. He's still alive, but now one more right click from Super. That'll finish him off. Burrow Strike comes through from the Sanking. Epicenter to follow. This will be the death of the Visage. 2 for 1 so far. Sylar getting low. He's being chased down by some familiars. Not going to matter for now. It looks like the main fight going on here. XTT still barely alive. Shadowblade's up, gets a bit too close to the tower. Burrow Strike comes through, finishes them off, and HGT in even more trouble if Invoker can't get out. He'll make his way out, but it started off looking okay, killing off ROTK, but it ended oh so badly.
Yeah, and I think going for a 5-man smoke there was just a very strange decision. They've got good pickoff power with the Slark moving around by himself. They've got really good tower defense with the Invoker, and they're just taking fights in empty space. RTK again in some trouble.
Yeah, this is a bit better. This is just fighting when they know Vici Gaming don't have numbers. Familiars actually, don't lose those familiars. They're going to drop down to the ground here. It looks like TP out from the side. And, well, they lose the Batrider once again.
No, but this is space created. Mid tower is going down. They give the last hit to Sylar. That's almost his BKB.
I
feel like saying, oh, they lose the Batrider is getting a bit redundant by now. 0, 6, and 2 RTK.
Yeah, RTK is dead. You know, it's par for the course.
This is his trademark signature hero. This is the RTK Batrider we're seeing here in action.
Don't worry, the Super Alchemist has got this.
Yeah,
he'll make up for it.
This is why Burning was unsure about teaming up with ROTK after DI3. We're going to see a Blink Stun coming out. 1-2-1 should be okay here. The Familiar's actually stopping any follow-up, but there comes your Unstable Concoction. Weave coming out as well. FY taking a lot of damage on the front lines, and 4-Staff out nicely used. Going to keep 1-2-1 alive as well as a Shadow Wave. Meanwhile, Visage, the Familiar's actually finished off tanking. Well. Damage not done here. There's a Blink Stun in a second if the Centaur wants to go for this. Trying to get the 2-hero stun. Doesn't do so, but he kills off the Alchemist. Cooldown. Gonna finish off the Centaur. The retaliation is here. Looks like Vici Gaming, they want to fight an ROTK. He's coming. He has used the lasso here. Once they finish off 1-2-1, 4-Staff forward. Blink Dagger to keep up. 1-2-1 will go down. ROTK gets his first kill of the game. Well played, ROTK. And that looks like HGT they just get a bit too over-aggressive once they think they have a good fight to go their way.
Yeah, these fights are just not really considered at all. I think they're just getting caught in the fact, okay, we're fighting, just keep on fighting and we'll eventually come out on top, but not the case. Vici Gaming always seem to have that one hero that pops in at the last second. It's like, oh, I'm at full HP, I've got all my cooldowns. Yeah. What do you guys have left? And for HGT, the response is normally, well, not a hell of a lot. They've normally been investing everything sort of 4v5, and Sylar came in at the end of that fight. He was the cleanup crew that time.
The Slark is just like proven to be too squishy in these fights. There's so much good AoE that can hit him even in the Invis, even in Shadow Dance. You've got your Batrider Firefly, you've got Leshrac stun, you've got Sanking stun, and Gyrocopter cooldown. Everything just destroying him during these Invises. They will find a kill here. It looks like Fenrir going to go down to a pounce, but XCT needs a BKB ASAP, it feels like.
And HGT, well, they again all turn up top lane. Sight set on this tier 1 tower, but Vici Gaming, they've got something to say about it. Yeah, FY's off to the side, Epicenter ready.
Yeah, this is a level 1 Epicenter, but we'll see if they go for this one. Defensive Weave being used, Alchemist killing a stun here. Maybe going to go for this Tower tonight. Here goes RTK, he's going to blink lasso, finds the Invoker. Invoker does the full stuff if he needs to use this to get out, so he'll manage to stay alive for now. Epicenter to follow things up. Sylar with a BKB. He's trying to clean up house here, but he can't actually kill anyone here. They haven't got detection for XCT. He's still alive. Pounce out of there. Vici is the only one to take a fall so far, and it looks like ROTK wants XTT. The Dark Pact is there. We'll get the kill. Actually, the Fire Strike finishes him off. ROTK goes down to get it. Meanwhile, a nice 2-hero stun from Kaka. Poison touch out on Sylar, and with no BKB, Sylar has to be very careful. CSMJ just goes man mode. He's like, I'm going to tank you guys. I've got some Shadow Wave damage for you. But he goes down in the end. 1-2-1. Needs to be careful. Alchemist Unstable Concoction will follow him down, and he's kind of left standing on his own. The Centaur's kind of thinking about re-engaging here. He's got to blink, he's got to stun to fold things up. Super may go down for this. Is there enough damage to finish him off? Centaur taking too much right click. Sylar going to keep on chasing Kaka. No blink for 5 seconds. Blink, stun, he goes down. He saved the Invoker's life, or did he? Super got another stun off here. It looks like 1-2-1, trying to turn around. 1-2-1, every single time he gets out alive, he thinks, oh, let's re-engage it. Every time it's gone poorly for him. He's now sent pretty Hoarders down. He's just getting his teammates killed time and time again, it feels like. This time around, he'll try and save him with a Force Puppy. The Alchemist Unstable Concoction goes on a 1-2-1. It looks like Vici Gaming going to be forced to retreat here. Super. No Chemical Ray taking a lot of damage. Has got the mech. This fight's gone on for so long. He's got a second mech. Sylar will be healed up in just a second. Use your mech. He does use it. That keeps Sylar alive just a little bit longer. His BKB is almost back up. Sylar pops a one. Has a BKB now. Will he use it? Does do so immediately. The Grave coming out on 1-2-1. He's still alive. Just barely. This Invoker just does not save die the fight. That just keeps on giving here. Burrow Strike out from FY. Catches XTT. XT will get lassoed up. The second lasso of this fight. And ROTK. Another kill going Vici Gaming's way. The Invoker somehow did not die in the end there. The only hero not to die. Meanwhile, his teammates died 2, 3, 4 times in that fight. And somehow 1-2-1 is like left standing on his own.
There was some point in this game where HGT were, what, 8-0 up? And after that bloodbath of a fight, it's actually Vici Gaming in the lead by 1. I think we saw, what, 2 BKBs from Sylar, 2 lassos from ROTK, probably 3 EMPs, 2 mechs.
I saw like 7 Burrow Strikes, I want to say.
Yeah, just a disgusting amount of Burrow Strikes. FY played that fight really nicely. The only moment that was a little bit shaky was when he was trying to decide between Burrow Striking the Centaur and Burrow Striking the Invoker.
Yeah.
And they ended up deciding to chase down the Centaur. But Vici Gaming, all of that, and they still managed to hold on to the Tier 1 tower at the end of the day. That was just beautifully team fought from them.
And just HGT this is like watching CIS Dota when you see a team get off to a good start and they just keep on trying to man fight and it just does not work in their favor and it's not the right play to move. FY maybe going to get caught out here. Does get the blink off before the poison touch damage kicks in. Gets blink hoof stomped here by Kaka. Just maybe a kill on FY. He does get a Burrow Strike off. The Stampede now being used to try chasing down. FY has a blink in a couple of seconds. Throws down the Sandstorm. He's got the blink. Oh, just gets away. Poison touch going to come in. Not going to set in. Actually gets disjointed. So Sand nice little juke there. And that's a lot being invested to try and get that kill. And they don't actually get the Sand King. So FY, he's a bit of a magician as far as support plays go.
That was tense. That Sandstorm was super clutch. There's always these moments, and I think the other big one, you know, where you're not the one playing, but you can, like, your heart's racing as well. I think the other big one for me was the EG versus Team Liquid finals of
the Star Ladder.
Of Star Ladder.
Yeah. That game 3.
Quick on the Tinker. I was like,
oh boy.
I was not playing that Tinker, but I can't imagine what that must have been like. That was a crazy intense game. But anyway, side notes aside, Vici Gaming looking really good, up a kill. HGT looking a little bit lost, just kind of meandering around right now. XCT not really applying pressure, he's just off farming in the jungle, and well, things looking pretty good for Vici. They've now got a BKB up on the Alchemist as well, so Super's not going to be caring about the Invoker in the slightest. The Centaur initiation has its edge taken off a little bit, and HGT don't really have that much right click coming from the Slark at the moment either, so his BKB heroes are going to be so hard to deal with. Yeah. Well, he's just not a very good 5v5 hero to begin with. He's so much more centered around finding pickoffs on the lone hero, farming, moving around the map, putting pressure on the supports. But the way that HGT chose to play this game was to just continue to force 5-man fights, and I think they could have, just been defending with the Invoker, playing back defensively, even split pushing a little bit with the Slark. With Dark Pact and your heal, you're not a bad split pusher at all, and that's what we're seeing from XCT now, but feels a little too late, as Vici Gaming already slamming away at this tier 2 mid.
I don't think it just would have come out so much faster. He can take a 14-minute Shadow Blade, and this BKB has taken him a full 10 minutes plus to build right now. As that looks like a tier 2 tower will go down in the favor of Vici Gaming. Gyrocopter picking that one up. Not only a BKB, he's got enough money for an MKB to go with this, so his damage output is going to start getting incrementally higher, and well, for Vici Gaming, they've taken 5 of the 6 out of towers. They maybe want this last tier 2 bottom, but with Gyrocopter TPing top, probably a good idea just to wait till it's a bit safer until they're more grouped up to go for that one.
Yeah, and Vici just going to establish a couple of wards here and there, grabbing some more farm around the map, and HGT, we still have this little group of heroes that just aren't really getting all that much done, and the Invoker, he had such a fantastic start to this game, moving around, setting up kills, counter-initiating, and things have really slowed down for him as far as the farm progression is concerned. I mean, Ultimate Orb is a pretty underwhelming item for the cost. It really does need to get to that Hex somehow.
Why, once again, bottom lane being the one initiated on, but very rarely going down in these games. And Yeah, I agree. You need the full complete Scythe of Vice, and with just 1k gold up his sleeves, 121 is still a decent ways off of the completed Hex, so not going to see too much as far as, I guess, advancement from HGT, apart from the BKB on Slack, which is coming a lot sooner, but you said it earlier, it doesn't feel like this BKB is going to turn things around with the Slack just not being hard enough.
Yeah, is the Slark in his BKB going to be able to beat the Alchemist or the Gyrocopter to death? I'm not convinced. Especially
Gyro.
because, yeah, Sylar has just been coming into the fights at such good times as well. He hasn't really been going all gung-ho. He's made sure that it's at the right opportunity. XCT gets jumped here. There is a Grave. Epicenter coming in, so this MJ tries to force step up onto the high ground. Won't be able to. Pretty Hard gets jumped, pops the mech just for himself, and this is a retreat stampede. He's up this MJ. Don't think he's going to be able to get out of here. RTK is still in the chase.
Doesn't look like it, and they're going to chase down XCT as well. FY gets him with a Burrow Strike. It looks like they're going to abandon the Dazzle and go for the Slack instead. Could look for a pounce onto the high ground, not going to get it off, so smart play. Let Dazzle live, kill the Slack instead, and they'll get a tier 2 tower to follow.
Very nice fight taken by Vici Gaming. I mean, FY not choosing to jump onto the Slark and throw more lockdown onto a hero that was already graved and about to escape, just focusing on the supports, making sure that they stay away, and looking to pick up some additional kills. But yeah, Vici, 2 pickoffs, another tower, and gonna get some damage down to the tier 3.
Yeah, Sylar's just massive at this point. He's got 2.4k gold after finishing his MKB. He's 7-0 and 9. When we talk about MVPs, last game it was FY picking it up, and I look straight towards Sylar for this game. He has played an absolutely incredible game on that Gyrocopter. Coming to the fight at the right time, using his BKBs, his cooldowns have been on point, and they've been the main reason to turn fights around. RTK is going to grab the Centaur here. They want to kill him off before he can get up that sun, and it looks like they will succeed in doing so. Sylar just cleaning up with the flat cannons. He's got himself a double kill so far, forces the Vici and Invoker back, and they'll get the tier 3 tower. They'll back off now with Centaur buying back. They don't want to overcommit to this, and well, they just regroup here. They're going to just reassess the situation, decide they can have another go at these Raxes here. BKB's still up on Super, and he's going to channel the stun. Look for an engagement here. It looks like, oh, stuns himself, pops off the Chemical Rage. Needs to be a bit careful here. FY just helping keep him alive, and these Raxes are going to take a fall. Nothing HGT can do about it.
Yeah, they had the Chemical Rage ready. They've still got mech. They've still got BKB on Super. HGT, are they really going to fight over a already dead lane of Rax?
Well, they're going to Stampede and blink in, but that didn't accomplish all too much here. Burrow Strike comes out. That's on 1-2-1. That's a dead Invoker. Possibly even Morgan to be taking a fall soon. Pretty Hawk needs to stay as far back as possible. The flak damage doing a lot in an AoE here. Everyone from HGT just copying massive damage. And Invoker, he buys back for this. Where's the fight? What are you buying back for? It's a blink stun. Will catch RTK, but he gets forced about. The cooldown being thrown around in return. 10 seconds till Sylar's BKB, and once that is up, the fight's over for HGT. They may lose the Invoker here. Burrow Strike, Epicenter coming through from FY. He's going to try to finish off Kaka here. He's on the run. He's graved up. He's very low. Invoker just died back, and with that, I think it's all over. I think Vici Gaming have secured themselves a 2-0 victory here. ZSMJ taps out, and Vici Gaming have done it. 2-0.
That was some questionable play from HGT under pressure right at the end. The Rax was already dead. The Centaur buyback was already like, okay, that's probably going to end up being a waste. And then there's this thought running through your mind of, okay, guys, we have to make the buyback valuable. We have to make this not a mistake. But Vici Gaming still had so many cooldowns ready, and it was just a really easy fight for them.
That was just a mess, that entire last fight. I mean, even up till then, the things had already become a mess. It was something like a 15 to 20k gold deficit by the end of the game. Vici Gaming just playing an all-around solid game, and it's still an opponent they should beat. You look at HGT, a very new team. They have a few players with some good experience. You look at ZSMJ, XTT, even 1-2-1, an old Dota 1 veteran, but definitely not a team you'd expect to be taking games off Vici Gaming. But Vici Gaming, some early game struggles on a la RTK, but they turn things around and turn things around pretty convincingly.
Yeah, very, very nicely done. And well, HGT, I think they played well actually. You know, in this series, a couple of shaky moments as far as decision making was concerned, but overall play was good. So I think it's just the captaincy and the teamwork that needs to really come together.
Yeah, and that's where I feel ZSMJ's just got a lot of, like, I think he just feels overwhelmed with having to be the captain and try to lead this team, but we'll see more of HGT in the future. For now, guys, we're going to be taking a quick break. We've got our second match of today starting in about 30 minutes' time. That's going to be Titan up against LGD. Winter will be joining me for that game, so a big thanks for joining me for this series, Cameron, as always. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
Cool. Well, if you guys want to support Baseskip, he streams sometimes on twitch.tv/Baseskip, or you can follow him on Twitter at Baseskip. So big thanks for Cameron for joining me, guys. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, more WPC Dota 2 action coming your way with Titan. They've got a doubleheader. They'll take on LGD, then they'll take on Vici Gaming as well. We've got 2 more Titan games, and then we've got tomorrow as well. So we've got 4 more Titan games left before they leave China. But guys, we'll be back soon. Stay tuned.